good, thank you. So I'm Deborah J. Kelly, and I do quite a lot of things, actually. I've got 9 books published. One of them is behind me, Model Diaries UK, which represents diversity in the industry, cultural diversity, and different, I've challenged age groups in terms of who can be a model and who can't. I'm a red carpet host, a fashion presenter, and I run an academy as well, which I've had since 2003. So I'm a woman. I can multitask, right?
And Deborah, you do all this. How do you find time, a woman of 50, to socialize?
Well, I think a lot of what I do is my social life. So I did 2 events yesterday. I work very heavily in the charity industry. I try to raise as much money or be involved in raising as much money as possible for charities. And then the day before I did 2 events, and they're nice. Some of them are like gala dinners. You can have dancing. Some of them, I'm doing the red carpet, and it doesn't faze me now as a woman of 50 plus. It doesn't faze me at all. But I would say that probably represents quite a lot of my social life, because I get to dress up. I get to wear a ball gown. I mean, it's a bit like a fairy tale, really, but it's my work. So a lot of it kind of crosses over with that, actually. And when I'm not doing the red carpet and fashion presenting, I'm doing a little bit of TV. When I'm not doing a bit of TV, I'm teaching my students. And so I mean, one student was in tears just before we went live, actually. And she's absolutely, because she didn't believe in herself. She's a woman of 50 plus. No other school would take her. She had English as her second language. And I passed her because she was fantastic. She worked brilliantly. She's a beautiful lady. And so she was beside herself. She was crying and, I can't believe it. And such a lovely lady. And, this is what gives me my buzz. This is what I really get out of life, to actually help people, and particularly people that are disadvantaged, or people that are disabled, or charities and this kind of thing. Because I don't know, it's just where I sit comfortably, because I am one. It's a very strange thing, actually, because I suffered from a horrible illness from 30 until 40, and it really was awful. It was like a skin, I don't even know what it was, but it looked like I'd been burnt in a fire, and I used to have to bandage, and I still have scars, but unless I point them out, people wouldn't notice. And so I sort of felt like I'd written off a lot of that youthful time, where I could have been doing things, I could have been having fun. So for me, because I sort of got better, I would say sort of from maybe 45 onwards, and then people started to pay attention to me as an older woman. And I was thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's so many places now, they limit your age. They say, we want you to do this, but you've got to be under 30. And I just thought, this is really ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm getting so many jobs, right? Red carpet, fashion presenting. I mean, it's fantastic. And I'm getting so many, and I'm thinking, do you know what? We really need to change the way that people view us in the industry, because generally at the age of 50, I wouldn't be getting work anymore. Well, yes, I mean, obviously a 50 plus woman, I get up in the morning, because I've just done 4 shows and my legs hurt, right? It became a real reality for me yesterday that I cannot wear high heels anymore, right? I would much rather be in slippers or flip-flops or something, because I cannot do it. I was having a discussion with one of the models, and saying that when I was in my 20s, I would be wearing high heels like this high to work, and I'd be tottering around in them all day, right, working, and it never bothered me. That's what I did. As a businesswoman, I was a high profile. I was a director of loads of international magazines. I mean, that's how I kind of came up. So I was a journalist, and I used to just wear these heels all the time, and now I can't do it. So yes, for 50 plus women, but it's also very important to understand that we maybe cannot do what we used to be able to do. I'd love to, but you know, heels, menopause, swollen tummy because of menopause, not being able to sleep at night, hot sweats, you know, all of this is something that I don't think gets enough publicity, Gifty. I don't think people talk enough about so 50 plus, I'm 56 shortly, right? And I think that we're brushed under the carpet. Nobody really talks about it. You know, it's not supposed to be talked about what happens with menopause, what happens during your change, the anxiety. I mean, I can walk on a stage and I can do this with you like you're my best friend, right? But if I was to meet a man, like a strange man out for a date or something like that, I'd be like this. I'd be so shy and so embarrassed because Deborah J. Kelly has a persona, but obviously I'm just a girl, the same as anybody else is. And, you know, if I'm going out of my comfort zone, you know, for a date or to meet someone and I don't know them, I get terribly anxious. I never used to have this before, but I suffer from a lot of anxiety, which I think is to do with the menopause.
Like, you know, when you apply for a job, you know, like if you apply for a job now and they look at your age, 50 years old, no, they don't want to give it to you. None of even the model is the same thing. You know, they look at the age before. But now I think, you know, because of the awareness, people like you are all like putting efforts, you know, I think it's changing. And sometimes, you know, when they see some women, you know, they look the large women, you know, and women plus, you know, bigger, large ladies, and they don't want them to put them. You see, there are a lot of things which, you know, there's a barrier for older women.
Yeah. I think in the amount of time that I've been in the industry, I would say I agree with you that there is a change. Certainly with plus size women, which when I started in the industry was unheard of, and now there's a lot of pageants, there's a lot of recognition for plus size women, and there was even like now they're doing the disability fashion shows, you know, where they're bringing people on and giving them the chance to go onto the catwalk, which I think is really great. So I do think that it's changing, but at the same time, I still think that we have a way to go, because I was speaking to a designer yesterday, and I loved one of her designs. I'm a size 12 to 14, more 14-ish actually, and that happened in menopause. You know, I used to be a skinny mini. I've kept some clothes just so that I can cry every time I pick them up because I can't even get them over my legs. Do you know what it really, and it happens. But on the catwalk, all the designs are size 0, size 4, maximum size 8. And I mean, I always say the same thing, but I feel this way passionately. You know, women generally aren't that size. So it's very nice looking at a woman in a size 0 walking across the catwalk, but I can't physically say I'm going to buy that dress because I can't imagine that it's going to fit me. And I spoke to one of the ladies, I said, I love that dress. And, she, you know, oh, it's a size 0. I said, well, don't you make it in a size 12 to 14 or 16, 18? You know, where's like the whole kind of, and do they really sell these designs? This is what I want to know, because generally women, you know, we've got the curves, haven't we? So yeah, so that's my whole kind of thing in the industry. I think we still have a way to go.
You have to spend more to make it bigger, because it's bigger, and you know, or size 22 or size 8, you know. So that's why we prefer to like do the small one and make more money. You see, and but now everything is changing, because you have plus size models coming on, in confidence now when they reach a certain age. And I remember when the COVID comes, you know, a lot of the mature women, the old people, they are left out. You see, they are left out looking at their own. They just think like, you know. So I think, you know, we really need to do more awareness. So the government has to see that 50 you are not old. 50 now, people 50, they look very young. Look at me at 50, I'm looking, and people are living younger. People are living longer now, because I just want to put the pension age more up and up and up, because they know that people are living younger. So if you are 50 plus, I think, you know what, just do what you have to do. Just go for your dreams. Be yourself. Be confident. Do what you want to do. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young child, and I used to think that a 30-year-old was old. Right? I remember when we were in our 20s, we used to go to the little disco, the local disco. And there was a lady that used to come with us. We didn't really know her, but she just kind of came with us. And she was in her 30s, and I thought she was really old. And I was thinking, why are you coming to a nightclub with us? You should be settled down. All this judgmental stuff. Because when you're younger, your view of, like, I would be probably to my nephew now, I would be like a granny, an old. And so it's, and then you get to this age, and then you accept yourself. And I accept myself. I accept my wrinkles. I accept the fact that, like, my knees aren't what they used to be when I was 20 years old. And I think the confidence comes from realizing who you really are, and also not trying to be someone else as well, which takes a lot of time, because in the industry you're always being told you should do this and you should do that. And so for me, the whole kind of thing for me is just getting out there and meeting people, because I love them, and socializing. But there's also this stigma as well. So I have had it said, not much, but in a couple of places, and I've had a really big conversation with them. You need to grow up. Stop having long hair. Why are you wearing glitter on your eyes? You should be like acting your age. You should be wearing like hardly any makeup, just a little bit, short hair, maybe not wear that ball gown that shows your breasts, but one that covers you up. And I'm like, well, why? Because I lost a lot of my ability to go out and dress up between 30 and 40 years old. So I feel like now, if I want to wear something, I'm going to wear it. I don't want to be offensive to anybody, but if I like it, then why shouldn't I wear it? And if I want to wear glitter on my eyes, why shouldn't I wear glitter on my eyes? And so I think there's still, this whole kind of women, when they've become mothers, they are like wives, they're housewives, they're working, and they're wearing so many different, or juggling so much and wearing so many different hats. And then their children grow up and they leave home. And then they're kind of left there. Maybe they've been married for a very, very long time. Maybe there's a companionship still there, but they don't know who they are, or whether they've not done something that they really wanted to do in their life. And I think this is about really encouraging, and men as well. It's not just women, men as well. And, because I really believe that men have, when they get to like 40, 50, I think they have these anymore. That, you don't know how much of life you have left, and you want to celebrate what you have left. So I think this is really important to promote women and men actually getting out there and establishing their identities again, now that their children have grown up, because maybe they haven't had time to like look after themselves and do their hair and do their makeup, because they've had children to look after. So now, it's about claiming back who they are as a woman or as a man, and basically wear what you want to wear and go out and do what you want to do, and don't really let anybody tell you any different.
You do what you want to do, not about age. For me, you see the way I dress, the way I look at age. For me, if I was thinking about my age a lot, I would be looking older. Because you don't have to think about it. I think I'm young. You have to think like the young guys. That's trendy. Change your wardrobe as well. Maybe you have some old-fashioned clothes. You just have to go to your wardrobe, change, make it, certain way that you look a little bit younger. And young women, when they're older, they want to wear long, or they want to wear bigger clothes, want to cover everything. No, if you don't show all your shape or whatever, when are you going to shape it? That's what I do exactly. If I want to wear short clothes, I wear it. Once I wear sensible, and you're not supposed to show down there, so many things. Thinking about age. Don't think about age. Just go for what makes you happy, what suits you, or don't think about what your friend is going to say. And maybe they think about what their kids going to say. For me, I have an older kids, as I said. My older son wants to tell me sometimes. I say, excuse me, please, I'm enjoying myself. You're going to club where I get the day. This is what I like. This is why I want to dress. Don't tell me what to do. You see? So the things that older women have to. Don't be looking what they're going to say, what your family is going to say, things that are older. No. That's the thing.
No, I completely agree with you, and I think it is all to do with conditioning. And but everyone really wants to have that princess, that ability just for once. This is what we do at the Angel Academy. So I run a beauty school, but I didn't start it. I didn't actually teach beauty until much later on in life, because again, I was much more into the therapy side. I taught degree level anatomy and physiology. I was a journalist, so I never really got involved until much later. But it's very interesting because now, the whole ethics behind beauty and who we are, and it is just totally changed. And I talk about this a lot, but it does shock me. So, in my day, we never had fillers. Well, we did. We had collagen, which was banned because I think it was a cow's something or other. It was to do with animal anyway. And we had silicone, and we had this big thing with one of these stars on TV that had to have it cut out of her face. So we never really had any of that. But now you've got everything. So my students, and because of social media, because Instagram is a big one for them with their filters and Snapchat, and they tell me they feel the pressure. They feel like they have to start having their Botox in their 20s. And I'm like their mummy. I say to them, no, this is why you don't want to do this. This is what you need to do. Because I just feel like they're starting so young. And as a result, you're poisoning, putting different things into your skin. What's going to happen to you in 30, 40 years' time? So I really think that the industry has changed massively with regards to surgical procedures.
Sometimes they don't know it's only just because of the media, and they want to do so many things. And we are 50 plus, and by the time they reach the age, they will be so old. So they have to be themselves. That's what we do in this program. Because if you do too many things to yourself when you're younger, then by the time you're 50, you'll be looking at us. Maybe you might not be looking at us. More older. You've done so many things to yourself, and sometimes they're too young to decide to have surgery, and they regret what they've done, and they think they want to reverse it back, and I don't like it anymore. So sometimes just be yourself. There's a lot of what I normally say. Beauty is in the shop, and I say beauty is in the shop because buy your first eyelashes. Everyone is beautiful. Buy makeup, buy this, buy that, making, but don't go do surgery. But that's what they want. It's all about choice. It's all about choice.
And I'm so pleased that I am not young anymore. Right? I would not like to go back to live in the world that we are living in now. And that might sound really serious, but the whole kind of dating scene, the pressure that nobody meets each other naturally anymore. I used to go, I don't know, wherever, we would go out as girls, we would have a little drink out in a bar or whatever, and a man would come over and he'd say, can I buy you a drink? And it was quite innocent, have a little laugh if he wasn't we weren't really interested or whatever. It was a giggly thing because you were young, it was innocent. And then, if they did buy you a drink, it would be like that. And, your eyes would meet across the room, this kind of thing. And that doesn't happen now because people just don't tend to meet in the same way. And I just think this whole data, I'm going to be a bit controversial now, and you can shut me up if you like, if it's not what we need for this, right? But I just think the whole kind of concept of dating, pornography, cosmetic surgery, and I sound like, well, I sound my age, but we were so innocent then. You know, we weren't able to watch what we can watch now. You know, we met a person in a different way, you know, rather than like getting a dating application, which all my students do, and they're just doing this, they're flicking, like all these people, they don't know who they are, and they're going and they're meeting all these people, and it's like, oh, hello, and before they even know their name, oh, let's meet for a coffee. You don't know who that person is. So there's so many safety issues surrounding youth now as well, and I would not want to go back and do that if I had the chance. Sorry, I got a little bit passionate there, but
there's a lot of things going on with social media, you know, and look at the young some guys that they're seeing all these things and they think, oh, you know, they don't even want to wait until they're older. They just want to be it now, you know. They want to do everything, do makeup, do their nails, actually some of them at the age of 8, 5, you know, and their parents are understanding they have to buy this iPhone for them, they have to buy this for them, they have to,
all the best.
What is going on?
Yeah. It's crazy. When I remember, like going way back again, I remember mobile phone used to be in a suitcase. It was this big. Show my age now. Right? You used to have to carry it around. And I remember I got a job in media because I've been in media quite a long time. And I always used to get company cars when it was a benefit to have a company car. It isn't so much now because of taxes and whatever. But I remember I had this massive phone. It was like this big. And it was in my car. And it was so amazing. Yeah, I've got a car phone. It'd be this big phone like this, right? Hello. And then obviously they got smaller mobile phones, and now they've got bigger again. But if you wanted to speak to somebody, they were at their job during the day, and you would phone them at home on the landline, the home number, and speak to them in the evening. Whereas now the whole thing, and you know, I'm guilty actually of it, because I spend a lot of time on social media and a lot of time uploading my websites. I've got 5 and I've got 20 social media networks, because the brand of Deborah J. Kelly and getting it out there and everything all involves all of this. So I have to say, you know, I'm probably as guilty as anybody else of being on there a lot to try to upload if I've done shows and so forth. But it's about drawing that balance, isn't it? About sitting in front of somebody and having a chat like we are now, but you'll be sitting here, and if it was you there with your children, they'd be doing this, right, all night, instead of socializing with you. And this is the problem with phones now. It's made it all so impersonal.
Chelsea has club. When you go there, you're not allowed to use a mobile phone. I said, why? I cannot use a mobile phone. They say, because you go there to socialize. You don't go there to be looking at your phone. You know, it's called the Chelsea actor. You're not allowed to be looking. That's why the legends and all actors, painters, all of them goes there. You know, but the first time I went there, I was like, oh, why? But I agree, because you know, you say because they don't have people. You go there to socialize. You don't go there to be looking at your mobile phone. So I agree with them. You know, if you are there 4 hours, 5 hours, you are socializing with people, talking to people. Because now the way the world is going, even in the train or the bus, everybody and the phone. You know, even some parents, they don't have time for their kids anymore. They don't have time for their partners. They don't have time to do anything. 24 hours on this mobile phone. Yeah. Just every time neglecting even their kids. Their kids will be calling mommy, no time, all on the mobile phone, looking for things, you know. So I don't know what the world is going to. See? You know, another thing, you know, like I'm talking about, let's talk about dating now. You know, like when you're getting older, I think, you know, some people are, you know, they're divorced. Choose a partner. I think when you are more mature, you know, you be careful about. Like for me, I'm talking about myself. This is why I'm by myself. I've dated before. I've got kids, and I'm thinking, no, I'm older now. You know, I cannot go for any kind of man. I have to know if I've got a certain quality I'm looking for in a man. You know, you don't say when you're 50 up, you just say anything. You cannot be making the same mistake that you make when you're younger. But I've seen some of my friends. They still make the same mistake when they're younger. I've got a friend, About 4 times now you're going to get married, bringing men over. And I said, come on, you are 50. You still making the same mistake. I decided to be single. People say, oh, are you copying? I don't want a man, but I don't want to settle for less. I don't want to take nonsense. I don't want somebody who's going to encourage me on what I'm doing. But what I'm doing now, I don't used to do that when I was younger. But now I'm thinking I'm 50. Yeah, let me do what I'm enjoying. So nobody don't distract me because sometimes you want to take a partner. It takes you out of your comfort zone. It takes you out of your dream. It's not supporting you, encourage you on what you're doing. And some of them are very abusive. Some of them are very violent. So you have to really be careful at 50. At 50, if you don't know where you're going, I don't know where you go. You have to learn your lesson from your mistake and don't repeat the same mistake. That's why I decided to, be by myself. I decided to be by myself. I'm very careful to choose somebody, a partner, or somebody to come to my house. And they say I have a 14-year-old. I'm thinking we are bringing her for my son. And then again, sometimes when you're younger, you have a child, you don't have a lot of experience. But because I've got a 30 years old, and this is 14, I think I'm mature, I have experience. So that's why I'll be careful about looking after my 14-year-old. So I'm mature, you're able to do certain things, you're getting older, no baby, or you don't want to get yourself into trouble. Sometimes, anything that is going to bring in the problem. Like my friend said, no, I don't want this. You be careful. Oh, no, I don't want to be. I don't want the problem. I don't want anything to do with police because you think I'm not young anymore. A lot of things you want to do. You must think 50. No, I am, going back where I come from. I want to, go forward. And then again, it's very good when you're 50 upwards. Go for holidays. Go and see the world. You think that you're not able to do. If you have a partner as well who is very helpful and they love you for who you are, because when you're 50 years old, you know what you want. And treat you nice, sometimes you want to go for dinner. I know when you're 50, if you're having a partner, it's not only about bedroom, it's about companion, eating together. You hold your hand, walking down, going to the restaurant, walking around the park, going for holiday. There's a lot of things when you're 50, you're supposed to be enjoying than when you're younger. You see, because
I think what you're saying it's so important, and I completely 100% agree with you. And I feel that when you get to, well, I say we're talking about 50 plus women because I'm 50 plus and so forth, but it could happen in your 40s, couldn't it? I think it becomes more difficult to meet somebody because you have a list of what you want and what you don't want. So I've been married. I married he was training to be a Presbyterian pastor for the Irish Presbyterian Church, which is where the name Kelly came from. A very good Irish surname. And then I got divorced. And so I think you learn more about what you want to accept in your life. And because I'm independent and I'm also very successful, and so I've been on my own, I never had children. So for me, I think, I know what I want in my life. I don't want someone that's going to try and take over my life because it's impossible, because I've built a life, and everybody would appreciate that. As you get older, you've built your own lives. You don't want somebody to come in and take over. Actually, what you want is somebody that you can share things with. You can do exactly what you said. It's companionship. But you also have to be very accepting of things. So, at 56 or coming up for 56 years old, I know that I'm not going to meet somebody. Well, I'm going to put them in categories, which I shouldn't do, right? But if I meet somebody and they're in their 50s and they've never got married, I'm going to wonder why. And I'm going to think, is this a commitment phobe? Is this somebody who actually doesn't want to settle down? Then I've got my young category. Like, I've got a few fans that are very young. Well, to be honest, I'm like their mum. And, I don't want to go out with them because I know that at some stage they're going to want to have children. And then you've got another category of people that, have had a family, and you have to appreciate that whole life of theirs has gone on bringing up those children. And those children came and will always come, actually, really, first. So whoever you meet, I feel like you're questioning you know, each kind of situation as to how it may fit in with your lifestyle, with who you've become. And so I really do think that it's very difficult. And I find that in my situation, I've always tried to look after myself, and I know you have as well, Gifty. So, you know, we try to kind of dress nicely, but then you also find a lot of people who let go. They let go. You know, they have their midlife crisis, and you know, I understand it, by the way. You know, like the big fluffy slippers and the pajamas and all this business, right? But I find a lot of people have let go as well, and it's not like I'm completely physically led, because it's about what's in here. It's about if you click with somebody, it's about that chemistry. But you also have to find them attractive, don't you? So I find we have a lot less choices.
Abusive relationship, you know. So as we do in this program, you know, we're going to encourage somebody who like, you know, is very down. Some people are very depressed. Some people have got problems. Some people have been raped. Some women are, you know, there are a lot of things which have happened to loved ones. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have lost their houses. Maybe they've been made redundant. And some women, maybe, you know, they are not able to pay the mortgage anymore. Some people have been evicted in the house. Some people are sick. A lot of things. And some people, you know, they're down when they're people, they think, oh, there's nothing left for me. But we're encouraging them to say, look at you, look at me. We are doing this program just to encourage a woman out there or over 50 who think that's it for me. You know, I remember we went to the International Women Team in Chelsea. The woman was saying she wanted to kill herself. She tried so many times to think, oh, well, you know, there's nothing left for me. But look at her today. She said, okay, you know, and I'm encouraging someone, you know, if at 50, don't say, oh, I cannot go study, or I cannot go learn something, or I cannot change myself, or I cannot go to the gym anymore, or I cannot go to, you know, change your wardrobe, or I cannot go to shopping anymore. And some of people again, they want to look for somebody else to help them, you know, myself. I go anywhere I want for myself. You know, I don't need to call anybody, because sometimes you're waiting, oh, I want to go to this place, I want to go to that. Sometimes take yourself to give yourself. I yourself a meal. Go and see, dress yourself nicely. I dress, I go out places on my own, or go to the park. People, you know, don't sit down there and say, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I'm getting older. You're not getting older. Because, you know, what I used to say to my mom, I said to my mom, my late mom, Mommy, are you older than the queen?
I said to my dad, you've got a few years and you'll get a letter from the queen.
Yes, I always said to my mom, you are not older than the queen, but the queen is looking so beautiful, always well dressed, you know what I mean? So, you know, so you don't have to like take age as a barrier. Even with dating, you know, some people will say, oh, I'm 50, maybe the guy is 40 or 45. The age doesn't matter, because what is the thing I think, once the person is sensible, some people can be 40, you can be 50. They are more intelligent, they do things properly, you know, they will look up to you, you know, and then so many again can be more older as well. So it's not about age, it's about, you know, people who are going to believe in you, who are going to encourage you, who are going to make you happy, who are going to work together. And it's not about color, it's not about anything, it's not about, you know, just, you know, be confident and just, you know, go for your dreams.
I think as well, though, sorry, Gifty, I think that there's this big issue about not talking about how you feel, or feeling embarrassed about how you feel. And, you know, and I'm this is an honest interview, and that's all I want to be. I suffer from huge bouts of like anxiety and loneliness, you know, very lonely, because there's no one there really apart from my mum and dad who are in their 90s, and I have to nurse them, and it's soul destroying, because, you know, I'd do anything for them to be young again and to be healthy, but it ain't going to happen. So, you know, for me, every time I see that, it's just so painful, and I can only do what I want to do. But you see, when I'm on the stage, I'm Deborah J. Kelly, you know, everybody thinks, oh yeah, you know, because I don't talk about it. And I think this is a big thing, even now, in society, where people don't talk about their emotional. They talk about physical. Oh, I've got a bad leg. I broke my leg 2 years ago, because I can openly tell you that, but I can't turn around and say to you, look, you know, after I had my really serious illnesses between 30 and 40, because of the drugs I had to take that were steroids, they gave me depression. I had severe depression. And I and people were saying to me, oh, shake yourself out of it, pick yourself up. I couldn't. I was absolutely rock bottom. And that was due to, because they said the after effects of the tablets, of course, could cause depression. But it was the most awful thing. I couldn't even get out of bed. And I think this is also another thing about when women get to a certain age, you expect us to know everything and to be like, completely calm and collected, we know what we're doing. But no, we don't. Women at any age, even like 50, 60, 70, can still have like crisis. They can still have breakdowns. They can still have like emotional issues. And I think this is something that we really need to start talking about a little bit more as well as a society.
Yes, go to that shop, put your makeup on, look for the night clothes to go to that dinner so that you can meet friends, you can meet your husband.
Yeah, no, it is. I completely agree with you. It is. It's really, really important. I mean, and in the industry now that I work in as well, with the models on the catwalk and the fashion and the books and everything else, I'm seeing more people like committing suicide, dying young, just, and they never talked about it. We didn't know. And maybe, if they'd met people that they could speak to, and this is what I believe makes me special, and I think you'll probably agree, Gifty, with yourself as well. Women that listen is really important, because a young woman, they kind of look up to you a bit as a mentor, because they look at you and they say, well, you've had the experience, you've had the knowledge, what can I learn from this person? And I always try to mentor, and I always try to give real kind of positivity and confidence to the people in whatever shape, size, colour, creed. It isn't, it's irrelevant. We're all human beings. But I think that there is certainly a need for people that can mentor them, the need to actually get out, like you said, and meet people so that they don't feel alone. They do feel like they can get on the phone and speak to someone if they're going through these things, because the worst thing is feeling alone, where you don't feel like you can share this or your problems with somebody else. Yeah, that's the most awful situation, because you just don't feel like you can get anywhere. You don't feel like you can get away from the situation. It still goes on, but fortunately we have so many good charities. I don't know, maybe just because I'm involved in so many of them, I kind of know so many different ones. But I guess if you're not in that position, then you might struggle to try to find, a charity or something that resonates with you, that you feel comfortable talking to them. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, so it's just such a massive conversation, isn't it?
Maybe you can recommend, because somebody's listening now, maybe they have certain problem, especially domestic violence and mental health. You can recommend some charities which they can contact, which they can, and be able to help them, because a lot of them help people.
Yeah.
So we can recommend some charities, some good ones you should like, so people can come.
Exactly. And there's so many. I mean, obviously, I met you a while back, Gifty, and we met, didn't we, at the women's inspirational evening. But I would say probably 80% of the industry or charity, maybe a little bit less actually, sorry, maybe about 75, is the Afro-Caribbean industry. I've always had a really, really strong connection with them since I first started. They were the people that embraced me, and I love African, Afro-Caribbean women, because they're strong, they're powerful, the whole thing for me. But then I do a lot with the Asian. I hosted the Islamabad Fashion Week, and then I went to Budapest, and so I've had like this real blessing of being able to mix with all different cultures, and I'll never tire of it. I absolutely love it, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We've all got one heart, but we also have different cultures to share with each other, and we can learn things from each other as well. And so I'd probably say quite a lot of the charities are Afro-Caribbean, and I tend to go for minority charities. So charities that aren't like in the mainstream, right? You know, they've started off, they're fairly small, they're getting recognition. So, you know, there's like DIFCIL Sierra Leone and then Cancer Africa and these kind of things where you can make a difference. You know where your money's going. Your money's going directly to help this, you know, this particular charity, and you can see the benefit of it. So you can see something's been built. Like I bought an incubator for premature children in India, and I had my name on the incubator. So it's really nice because I can see that's where my money goes. But sometimes with the bigger charities, you know, you can give and you don't always know or can see where your money has gone. So I particularly like helping to raise awareness for the smaller charities and minority charities that are, you know, that are starting out and really need to get recognition. My only disappointment about being so busy in life, because I've really been very business led for most of my life, and the only thing that I would say is that I really wish that I'd had a little bit more time, which I need to make now, to travel to more countries and to actually, it's not to go to a country and stay in a hotel where you can't even see what the culture is, but to actually get out there. So I did a charity thing. I went to Morocco and went and took some little gifts and bags and things out to some of the refuge places there. You know, and I want to see the culture. You know, I want to go out and actually get down and dirty and help and do what I can, but I also want to mix with the locals. I don't want to go, there's no point in me going to the Caribbean and sitting in a hotel and never seeing how the Barbadians or Caribbean, whatever, how they live. Because I want to see the different cultures. And that's one thing I would like to have done more of if I'd had the opportunity.
Yes,
because it becomes personal. It becomes personal.
Yes.
When you meet people, you integrate with them and you develop a bond and you realise there's a love between you. Then there's a compassion in every human being where we want to help. It's, you know, a lot of people sit in front of a TV screen, you know, with the stuff with Ukraine at the moment. And you know, it's awful, but they're watching it on a television screen, right? And they're saying, you know, they're affected by it, which of course they are. But they can't do anything about it. You know, if they could do something about it, because I think generally human beings are wonderful, wonderful people. You know, you've only got to look at the donations that have come in, all the bags and clothes and everything, like everywhere. You know, they're inundated. So we're good. Human beings are good. But I always feel that if you actually met the person and you had a conversation with them directly, it becomes how you can help that person. You know how you can get involved with that person. So I think you're right. I think with a lot of, you know, you're going to Sierra Leone, you see what is going on there, you integrate, you talk to the people, you see the reality, and suddenly it becomes so personal to you. And, you know, we would then certainly do whatever we could do to help them. If I do something wrong, I go, oh dear, right, okay, then it's probably a menopause. It's probably due to my memory loss and all of those things. And I just keep trying. But I think when you're younger and you don't know so much about who you are, you could be dictated to by what other people say about you, and you can start to believe it. So if they keep saying no to you and keep making you disappointed, then you kind of like can start to believe actually that you know what I mean, that you're someone that other people are telling you should be. Humble. And, you know, I'm a godly woman. I believe I read the Bible, and, you know, and I've always taught it was supposed to be humble and so forth. But I absolutely love myself. I think I'm wonderful. And someone might say, well, that means you've got a big head. It doesn't. It doesn't mean that, like, I haven't got wrinkles. It doesn't mean that sometimes I can't get out of bed. It doesn't mean I don't have all the normal insecurities that any other person has. But I absolutely love myself. I think I'm wonderful because I give so much time. I've got a good heart. And so, you know, that makes me, when I go to bed at night, and I know that, like, I've nursed my parents, and because of them, or only because of me nursing them, you know, they've had a good day. that means everything to me. And I can go to bed and I feel like thrilled that I've actually managed to do something to help somebody, because I get so much satisfaction out of, like I was talking about my student that was crying because she's passed. That means the world to me, because I've actually helped somebody who is ultimately going to go on and they're going to make a good career out of their life, and they're going to always remember me as being the person that contributed to pushing them forward. And so I think it's really, really important, you know, to always build people, always find the positive in people. You know, I always notice, because everyone has special qualities, everyone. Yes. And we all have somewhere. You know, a lot of what I do now is unpaid because it's charity, and I still have to pay my mortgage, and I got like a big mortgage and it's on a repossession order. So if I don't pay all the money by like 60 years of age, I'll get made homeless. So I think everybody has, and I've lost jobs and whatever. But at the same time, I've never lost track of my dreams. It doesn't matter how much I've been pushed back, and I certainly wouldn't want to work in the city like I used to, because it was just, well, I couldn't anyway. I mean, it was just not possible, 24/7, you know. So I wanted to take a little bit more of a back step, but I think it's just important, because I felt like I should say it, that, you know, when I sort of sit in front of people and they see like this sort of glamorous persona of being on the stage and all of that kind of stuff, what I think a lot of people don't realise is that plays a big part in my social life, but I don't actually get paid for it. Often I don't even get expenses. So I actually do it because I have a real passion for people and for helping people and inspiring people and so forth. And I guess that's the industry that I chose to, you know, to be in, because I think it's a huge industry with issues. You know, there's a lot of anorexia, there's a lot of bulimia, there's a lot of depression, you know, this kind. And so, yeah, so that's what inspires me. And I think that it's really important for people, because my background being like with mum and dad were very old fashioned and strict upbringing. It was about having a job, not about enjoying the job, but just about having a job, right? You should have a job. You should be getting money. Are you getting money? No, right? You need to get a job. It wasn't about, but do you like the job? What is it that you really want to do? What is your dream job? And why don't you try? Why don't you even just build yourself up? Do you know what I mean? Keep that dream. So I think a lot of us were conditioned to just have a job rather than a job that we really like. You know what though? I feel so helpless. Like over the years, because I work, as I say, I've always worked in media and journalism. And I get so like upset when I see things going on that I cannot help or I cannot do anything about. And so my sort of philosophy, which has worked very well for me, but I'm still obviously concerned with all different things that are going on in the world, but I created my own world. And I always say, you can't change the world, but you can change the world that you're in. You can change your world, right? So for me, my world is this particular, whatever it happens to be, this is my world. I can change the people or help the people or contribute to the people in my world, right? And consequently, they can help change whatever the people in their world, and consequently off it goes. So it's going to be huge, isn't it, right? Because I physically cannot change the whole world, but I can change, or not even change, just help or contribute to what is in my world. So I can help these charities as a result of that. Another charity might hear about me and go, well, could you help me? Yeah, I could do that, blah, blah. And it has this spiral effect, doesn't it? And so I think, you know, that's always been the best way for me. I always think if you just change or help what you can do, because otherwise you're just helpless. You know, I can't go all over the world and heal the world. I wish I could, but I can't.
At least, as you said, for me, if I help one or two people's life, or help one or two people, at least there are billions of people in the world. Other people have to do the same. If everybody can help each other, it will be good. You have done your own part. I'm doing my own part. You know, it's left other people to do, because you don't have the finance, because it all costs money. it's time, then you have sleepless nights because it's a very hard work. You come all over the world. You cannot do a little what you can, as you said. Yes, believe me, I cannot do little. I'm doing, I'm not doing a talk show. I'm doing a talk show. But how many people can I interview? I'll be able to interview everyone. So therefore, what we're doing is really great. You anything else you want to say?
No, not really. It's been lovely speaking to you, Gifty, and it was lovely meeting you the other day as well. You're even more beautiful in real life. Absolutely gorgeous. Not a wrinkle on you.
Oh,
right. Yeah, so it's www.Deborah, DEBORAH, DeborahJKelly.com. I've got lots of websites, but that will sort of give you a little insight into how many charity events I've hosted or been involved in. And then from there, of course, social media. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and all of your usual things because I have to be. So but it's been lovely speaking to you, Gifty, and lovely. And even if we've just touched one person's heart today with our conversation, then that's a blessing.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah, for coming. It's a pleasure having you here. And everybody, that's the wonderful Deborah J.
Thank you.
Find her on Facebook, Instagram, and she's giving you our website.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Thank you. Bye bye.